In this video, I will be teaching you how to take your chromatography lab data and plot it into a chart using the Chrome app plot.ly. So I'm going to first open up my website. So I'm going to go to plot.ly. And this is a website that can open with Chrome, and you can actually create your charts from here. What you're going to do is you're going to log in with your Google account. So here you can see I'm already logged in, and I'm just going to hit Create Chart. Now, as this workspace opens, I recommend that you also have your chromatography lab sample data ready to go. What you want to plot today is we're going to plot our x-axis and our y-axis. We want to plot our chromatography data. So first we need to take a look at what our independent variable is. What is our independent variable is the thing that we are going to change in our lab. So in this lab, I changed my solvents. So all of my solvents, I'm going to copy, and I'm going to go ahead and paste it into this grid. This grid should look just like our Google Sheet, so I'm going to go ahead and click and paste our independent variable in the leftmost column. I'm going to rename this grid. I'm going to click on this arrow and hit rename header, and the name of my independent variable is solvents. Confirm. Now, the next thing I want to do is I actually want to figure out what kind of data am I looking to plot. Well, actually, I wanted to compare the RF values and their averages. So I'm going to go back to my data, and I'm going to copy the data for average. And I'm going to come back over, and I'm going to paste that. And again, I'm just going to rename this average. The third thing that I'm going to copy and paste is standard deviation. So I'm going to go ahead again, control and copy, and right here in column C, I'm going to paste, and I'm going to rename that header standard deviation. Now, we're in Plotly, and if you can see right here on chart type, you can actually go ahead and click, and a menu of options of different types of graphs and charts can be made. What we want today is we want to make a scientific graph with error bars. So I'm going to go ahead and choose this error bars example, and you can see that the chart type went ahead and changed. What we're now going to do is take a look. My x-axis, and I'm going to enlarge this, has to be my independent variable, and I know that my independent variable are the solvents. In this case, I don't want a scatter chart because my independent variable is a discrete variable, or rather a variable that does not involve numbers or a continuous set of data. I am going to choose bar graph. So I'm going to go ahead and click bar graph. The next thing Plotly is going to ask me to do is define my x-axis. So right here where it says x, I can go ahead and drop down and notice that the names of the headers that I renamed is the same name that I can choose from. So I'm going to tell Plotly to go ahead and put my solvents as my x-axis. And again, see, it automatically changed the scatter chart, so you want to make sure you're clicking bar graph each time. And my y-axis is the average. I actually want to graph solvent versus the average. And so again, I'm going to drop down and pick average. All right. And the last part is the vertical error bars. I want to know the error, and that's actually going to be my standard deviation. So when all is said and done, and I make sure that I hit bar graph again in Plotly, if I scroll up, I can see that I've got a graph where the bottom is my x-axis, my independent variable. I'm comparing different solvents, so it's oil, water, vinegar, and alcohol. And I'm comparing their average, and actually right here my axes needs a little bit of help, so I'm going to just click that and I can edit. So average distance of blue pigment traveled, and the value is RF, and I can go ahead and enter that, and you see how it'll change the label on this axis. The great thing about Plotly here is that you can go over and click Style, and if you hit Style and you go down to where it says Axes, Axes will allow you to take a look. Here it says all titles, X-axis or Y-axis. We can go to the Y-axis, and this RF, the F is actually a subscript, and so if I highlight the F and I click this button, it will allow me to do the subscript, and you can see that it automatically changed the graph right here. Style also will allow me to go ahead and change the color of these arrow bars. So if I go over to this area called traces, I can then start to look at error bars. So right now I can see y-axis error bars, and that's the color. And actually, to show that, I'm looking at the blue pigment and I'm looking at the standard deviation or the measure of my averages for water, vinegar, and alcohol for blue pigment. Maybe I will then go ahead and choose a different blue color. So we can see that all of these are then blue. And then once I'm done with that, I can save and export my graph, or I can just simply go ahead and I'm going to take a screenshot. So I'm going to take a screenshot. I'm on my document so that I can save the graph, and I'm going to screenshot this entire graph. Now the screenshot is going to save, and I'm going to open up a new Google Doc. So I'm going to go ahead and go to Google Docs. I'm going to, in my Google Docs, you guys should already have a document titled For Your Lab. I'll start a new document here so that you guys can see. And in Google Docs, what is going to happen is you can actually go ahead and paste this screenshot. So we're going to paste it in. We're going to go ahead and paste that in. And from here, to delete this click to enter, you can actually click on this image, and in Google Docs, you can crop your image just like you would an image on your phone. So you're going to click on this crop image, and we're going to slowly drag this down, and we'll drag it over to the side so we can cut off as much unnecessary white space as possible.